When you sit in front of the microphone, sit as close as possible. Only this front section will pick up your voice.
My
mother is not like other mothers. She used to earn only 5 rupees a day. She fed all family members and skipped her food. She didn't have clothes, but she bought clothes for us. Though she faced many difficulties, she made us happy. She sang and made us laugh. She played with us. She was with us like a friend, mother, and a sister. That's why I love my mother, and I do whatever she says.
My father died when I was a child, when I was 6 months old. My mother worked as a laborer and reared me. When I was 11, I would go with my mother to work in the fields, and by the time I was 14, I was married. That's how we managed.
Samama is a new breed of farmer in the semi-arid region of Andhra Pradesh. Whilst her parents spend their lives battling against starvation, today Samama has more than enough food grain. In fact, she sells half of her produce on the open market for a profit. Samama is a member of a group of 5,000 enterprising women who have revived traditional methods of farming to maximize the yields from their drought-prone lands. Rather than growing water-intensive crops like rice and wheat, the women grow a variety of cereals and pulses more suited to their land and requirements.
We realized that we should grow more varieties of crops, at least 10 to 15 varieties instead of one. And if 2 varieties failed, the other 8 varieties gave us returns. That was guaranteed.
15 years ago, farmers, desperate for income, began farming cash crops like tobacco, cotton and sugarcane. Invariably, pests and poor harvests would leave small farmers penniless. Nearly 4,000 farmers have committed suicide in Andhra Pradesh in the last 15 years because of failure of cash crops and bankruptcy. Samama avoids the subject of her father's death. Many in the village say he committed suicide. Surviving off these lands has been difficult for local farmers as there is little or no irrigation. Since the 60s, the government has been actively promoting rice and wheat as the country's staple crop. But this hasn't been successful for everyone. Nearly 2/3 of India comprises of barren lands, and much of agriculture in these areas is at the mercy of the monsoon rains. After years of crop failure and discontent amongst the poorer farmers, the government has finally changed its stance and now encourages farmers to grow local cereals and pulses like millets, maize and oilseeds instead.
Monocropping అనేటువంటిది చాలా డేంజరస్. ఒకవేళ పంట రావచ్చు రాకపోవచ్చు, పంట వచ్చిన రేట్లు ఉండవచ్చు ఉండకపోవచ్చు.
Monocropping is very dangerous. You may get a crop or lose it. Even if you get a crop, you may not get back your investment. So we have been telling farmers, if you have got 5 acres, go for at least 3 crops.
సమస్య పరిష్కారం కాదు అనేటువంటిది రైతుకు చెప్తూ తను వ్యవసాయంతో పాటు ఒక వ్యవసాయం.
We have also been telling farmers that suicide is not a solution to their problems. We have been trying to see that farmers get income not only from agriculture but also from related activities like animal husbandry, horticulture and dairy.
లేదే హార్టికల్చర్ వల్ల కావచ్చు, ఏదో విధంగా వాళ్ళకు కావాలి అనేటువంటి ప్రయత్నం చేస్తున్నాం.
According to a local NGO, multi-crop farming produces 2.5 times more food grain than monocropping each year in the district of Medak. Samama's family started as landless laborers, but her multi-crop farming has been so successful that she now owns 4 acres of land. Over 600 families have also benefited from multi-cropping.
Our type of farming is simple. It's all about animals, fodder, manure and crops. When we tried to grow tobacco and cotton, we don't get good returns because we were not familiar with these crops. We didn't even know how to market those crops, but we do know how to market millet and pulses. And we managed to save a lot of food grains for our yearly consumption.
What has happened here over the years is the concept of people's food sovereignty has become very stabilized now. And people understand the entire issue of control and autonomy over their food systems. They understand that without that, they can be completely pauperized, and their whole issue of human dignity might be lost. So this is what I think has been the most significant achievement of DDS.
20 years ago, non-governmental organization DDS helped reintroduce traditional methods of dry land farming back into the community. Today, a network of 5,000 women is involved in the production, storage and distribution of food grains in 75 villages in the district of Medak. The women run individual and community seed banks that operate like commercial banks, where members get loans of seeds and repay with interest within 6 months. They have revived nearly 80 seed species, and the seed bank is doing brisk business even with farmers outside the group.
When a woman lends 1 kilo of seeds, she gets back 2. This way she can survive on seeds even if she doesn't have land. She can lend seeds once in 6 months and reap double. If she grows varieties of seeds and lends all varieties, then the returns will be as good as getting a good crop from a field. That's why we members are contacting each other and trying to expand our community bank. Now you can get all varieties in this seed bank.
The seeds are organic and are more sought after than the highly subsidized and non-organic seeds distributed by the government.
Government seeds are completely different to ours. They only give crops for 2 years, and by the 3rd year they are finished. You have to go to them and buy again. Even if we buy from them, we are not sure about the quality. That's why we do not like them and do not buy them. Our seeds are dried in the sun, and to protect them from insects, we use neem powder, ash and cow dung. There are 3-4 processes to store seeds for a long time. Having our own seeds means that I can give seeds to any farmer on demand. If I don't have it, I will go to another woman and get them from her. And if the seed fails to germinate, I can always ask her why. In this way, we are accountable to one another. That's why we don't need government seeds. We don't need chemicals. We only need our seeds, our manure, and that will be enough for us. No need to ask others. We wish to teach this to our children.
See, I think from the Green Revolution till today, agriculture has been molded in such a manner that every farmer has to depend upon outside resources, whether it is your seed, whether your fertilizer, whether it is your pesticide. For everything you have to depend upon the outside. And secondly, once upon a time as a farmer you knew what to do. And if something happened to your crop, either you knew or someone within your community knew. Now that knowledge has been externalized, like the seeds, like the fertilizers, like the pesticides. So we think that this externalization of agriculture must be reversed. It has to be internalized. Our seed, our fertilizers, our knowledge should guide our agriculture.
Self-reliance has brought empowerment to the women of the group. They produce their own development films, run primary and secondary schools, operate health clinics, manage a grain retail store, and even a restaurant. And while they are waiting for their community radio license, they have produced more than 400 hours of programming which they take to the villages. Samama's daughter, Sukama, has had a very different life from her mother. She has been educated and supported by her community. Now, the community will be looking at young women like her to continue their efforts.
నేను చిన్నప్పుడు వ్యవసాయం చేసేదాన్ని సార్ ఇట్లా కలవడం I used to go to the fields when I was a child. My mother was working in DDS then. అయితే ఎందుకో నాకు పొలం పని చేయాలనిపించలేదు. Somehow I used to dislike working in the fields then. I studied up to class 10th here. After that I wanted to continue my studies. I told my mother. She said no. She said that if I stay at home and work with her, then we can make both ends meet. My mother has always worked in the field. She never studied, but her knowledge about agriculture is huge. భవిష్యత్తులో ఇంకా మా అమ్మ కంటే ఎక్కువ ఎదిగి ఇతరులకు చెప్పి అందరితోని మంచి పేరు పొంది I want to work more in the fields and learn more about agriculture. Teach others and earn a good name. I want to work harder, make my mother rest at home, and thus show her my gratitude. మేము పడుతూ ఆమె కంటే ఎక్కువ పడుతూ ఆమెను ఇంట్లో కూర్చోబెట్టి మేము నడపాలని అనుకున్నాం.
యారన్లు వండాటి ఎదురెల్లే వాలికే పొయ్యి మీద పిడిసేసి బొన పేసరు వెట్టే బొన పేసరు వెట్టే బొన పేసరు వెట్టే బొన పేసరు వెట్టే